All right, guys, so today we are going to be talking about theme. We are going to be working through this idea of theme in order to help us find the meaning behind the stories that we're reading in class. For this mini lesson, you are going to need to have your ELA notebook out because we are going to really be talking about theme for the rest of this unit, and it is very important that we invest our time right now in this mini lesson building our knowledge of what theme is, examples of what themes can be found in literature, and then really understanding how we discover the theme in the books that we're reading. So please make sure you have your ELA notebook out. If you need to pause this video and go and grab that and something to take notes with, that's fine. And we're going to get started with looking at theme, finding the meaning behind a story. So, myMiniAnchorChart.com gave us this awesome definition of theme. Theme is the big idea or the lesson the author wants you to take away after reading the story. Let me say that again because this should go into your ELA notebook. Theme is the big idea or the lesson the author wants you to take away from reading the story. And there are a lot of strategies that we're going to talk about in this lesson for ways to help you identify the theme. But here are some questions you can ask yourself as you're reading to help you as a reader discover the theme that the author wants you to find. Things to pay attention to are, what was the problem or issue in the story? What did the characters learn? And how did the characters' feelings or actions change from the beginning of the story to the end of the story? Next week, we're really going to work through the plot mountain of the story that we are reading in order to help us kind of see what trends we have seen so far throughout our story, because what I'm going to be guessing is that most likely the literary essay that you write will be based on a theme that you find in the story somehow. So I want to kind of start getting your idea wrapped around what are some possible themes that are found in literature. And here are some for us today, guys. And I'm sure you've seen different stories with different themes like this: friendship, family, jealousy, love, hard work, acceptance, overcoming challenges, having courage or displaying courage in some way, loyalty, respect, teamwork, confidence, specifically self-confidence, hope, honesty. These are themes that are commonly found throughout literature, but these are probably things that in elementary school you were able to discover while you were reading. Since we're doing middle school ELA, it's going to be time for us to really beef up our thinking about what themes are in our literature, and we're going to do that today. So since the theme of a novel is its central message, we need to understand that this theme is an idea that the author wants us readers to understand about the novel. But the author, especially in the books that we're reading, does not say right out, this is the theme in their writing. It's almost as if we need to be detectives where we're searching and discovering and using the contextual clues that the author gives us to discover the theme. The theme is exposed throughout the story through these clues, through things between characters, through the problems, through the solutions, through the tension, through the rising and the falling actions. And we are really going to kind of break down all those different parts of the stories that we're reading in order to identify what theme the author of our story is trying to expose to us. So sometimes we talk about themes in literature, and other times we use this term universal themes. And so I want to just kind of talk about universal themes in literature a second. These universal themes in literature are themes that express what the author of the story wants readers to think about on a much deeper level. So it's like this analyzing that we as readers do in our minds as we're reading the story. That's what the author wants us to do. Sometimes, guys, you're going to find that there may be multiple themes in one book, but usually they're connected somehow, and we're going to talk a lot about that because some of the books that we are reading are actually pretty complicated. The thing about themes is they are very broad. They are not character specific, they are not time frame specific, or they are not setting specific. It could apply to anyone, anywhere in the world, and that's what makes themes so powerful, because we as readers can connect to them or have empathy about them in some way. A theme is not the third little pig in the story of Three Little Pigs was brave. That's not the theme of the Three Little Pigs. The theme of the Three Little Pigs is sticking up for what you believe in and showing bravery proves that it works and you can get what you want if you try hard and work hard. That is broad. That can be applied to anyone or anything. It's not specific to one character. However, the theme is directly connected to the plot and to the character, specifically to the main character or the protagonist. Okay, so whatever the main character is going through connects to that theme somehow. And we're going to continue to talk about this as we go through our novels together. So I just used a pretty big word, protagonist. Protagonist and antagonist are two vocabulary words that you are going to need to know. This would be a great time to stop in your ELA notebook and write down these two vocabulary words and their definition. The protagonist is usually the good guy or the good character. The protagonist is the main character in a novel. Whereas the antagonist, I usually classify as like the bad guy, the villain of the story, or the person who has conflict the most with the main character. The theme in a book or in literature is usually exposed with the help of both the protagonist and the antagonist in the story. Whether the antagonist pulls out the theme in the protagonist or the protagonist, stands up against something with the antagonist, these two characters work together to show or expose the theme to us readers. So a lot of people have a hard time understanding what the difference between a theme of a story and a main idea of a story is. And so I want to walk through that a little bit here. You notice I've got a T-chart here. Thank you, Pinterest, helping me out with this. The theme of a story is the moral or the message or the lesson. Okay, we've talked about some of these theme options. Jealousy, bravery, hard work pays off. It's okay to be different. Friendship, overcoming obstacles. Themes are broad and can apply to a ton of different people. The difference between theme and main idea is it's just not as applicable to all people. The main idea is not. The main idea of a story tells what the story is mostly about in like a one-sentence summary. So it's specific to a character. It's specific to a story. It's not broad and all-encompassing like a theme is. So for example, Amanda always wanted the same things May had, okay? Yeah, that shows jealousy, which would be the theme. But do you see how the main idea is connected to the characters somehow? And it wouldn't be there without, the main idea would not be there without the characters. It's not as broad as the theme. Another example, even though Tim was afraid of heights, he still wanted to go, I think it's supposed to say, to the top of the rope course. That's the main idea of that particular story. Yeah, the theme of bravery might show through that main idea, but it is completely connected to the main idea of one specific story. Jack and Jill were totally opposite, but they were both excellent kids. It's okay to be different. These main ideas can connect to the theme, but notice how the theme is broad and applicable to a variety of different things, whereas a main idea is very story specific. So I want to just talk a little bit more about possible themes. Remember, the theme is the moral, message, or lesson of the story, and oftentimes the theme is inferred, okay? This is like the $1 million word, and we're going to talk more about this in a second. But things like courage, honesty, family, jealousy, respect, kindness, fear, believing in yourself, accepting others, goodness, teamwork, persistence, being happy with who you are, discovery, love, differences, and overcoming obstacles are all possible themes. And I'm going to be really giving you guys a ton of different options of what themes could be a part of your stories. And I just want to kind of plant these theme seeds in your brain so you can be thinking, What theme is a part of my story that I'm reading right now? Here are some more with a little bit more of a description. I would highly recommend that you guys put this in your notebook somewhere, just because this is such a great anchor chart. It kind of gives you a little bit more of a description, so you can see here that the theme is listed on top, and then a description of that theme is on the bottom. So courage, honesty, perseverance, acceptance, responsibility, all of these are really, really great examples of different themes that could be a part of literature. All right, guys, so we just kind of used a big word, inferring, right? Inferring is using the text in addition to the background knowledge that you have to put the pieces of the book all together. It's really essentially answering the question, what do you think? When you infer, you are making conclusions about all of the pieces of the story, as well as using background knowledge that you have to create this new idea. So here are some ways that we infer. We can infer by thinking about our own experiences. We can infer in a story by thinking about how a character handles a specific conflict, whether main idea conflict or smaller conflicts. We can infer by thinking about a character's specific actions, specifically what they say or do. We can maybe empathize, walk a mile in another man's shoes, or think about how the character feels. We can use clues from the text, little words or adjectives that make a character feel or think a certain way. We can empathize with those, use those as clues. We can infer by using information that we already know to make conclusions about things that are going on. And I love this one. This one actually might be my favorite. We can infer by thinking about how a character handles change, whether good change or bad change, whether in a good way or in a not so great way. We really find a lot out about a character when change comes into play. So let's summarize what we talked about today, okay? Theme, the message or the moral or the lesson of the story. Most of the time, theme is inferred by the reader based on the details of the story. Theme is not the subject or main idea of the story. Theme is what the story teaches you, the reader. So now it's time to open up our class novels and read. And while you read today, I want you to think about what themes are starting to pop up for you.